Welcome, Climate Viewers. This is Jim Lee from ClimateViewer News at ClimateViewer.com. And seem to have some problem with my new OBS software. Looks like it may have created a new link. Let me make sure this is not going terribly wrong. Saying right there live now. And apparently has the link changed. Of course, the link has changed. We'll deal with that later, but regardless, looks like you guys have all found me. Let me pop this up in chat. Sure. Happy New Year to everybody in chat. Glad to have you here. Let me pop that out, put you guys over here. Very annoying. They changed my OBS. Obviously, it's been a minute since I've done this. And they went and updated everything. And now I can't just post to my link that I've already made a preview for. But whatever. We'll get past it. Welcome, everybody. Doing a thank you, Oregon Sunshine. We're doing a kind of year-end wrap-up where I go over, pretty much what's been going on during the year. And I've got a great update from the guys at ETC Group, which runs the website Geoengineering Monitor. And of course, they've really summed it up well. So I'm going to bring some of that to you from their newsletter. And if you haven't signed up for that, I suggest you do. Of course, everything can be found on ClimateViewer News at ClimateViewer.com. All my maps can be found at ClimateViewer.org. And all of my history stuff can be found at WeatherModificationHistory.com. Big news in the next year, very soon, in the next couple weeks, I will be combining all three websites into one. So that's going to be a thing. And it's going to be a big problem for me because apparently I have well over 15,000 links on the three websites combined that go to external websites that need to either be updated or no longer exist. So that's causing me a huge problem with the Google and Bing overlords, the SEO gods. So I'm going to have to go through with a fine-tooth comb and fix all of that. Yay, and yay. So anyway, we'll get that figured out and sorted, and that'll be happening very soon. I'm going to combine all three websites into one. It will be ClimateViewer.com. And the maps, the timeline, all of it in one single place, very much simplified and much more professional than done in the past. I want to make sure that this is the best resource possible. That is also the simplest to use. So I hope you guys look forward to that. Got a lot of work to do on my hands. It's kind of why I've been laying low. Plus, it's Christmas time. It's the holiday season. I got two daughters and a wife, so I've been real busy with that. But without further ado, we're going to jump into the updates from Geoengineering Monitor, which pretty much recap what's been going on this year and throw a new little bit of jargon your way so that you're all ready for the new year and you know what to expect. So, geoengineering in 2019, a recap. In the last year, geoengineering proponents have been normalizing this techno-fix at an alarmingly rapid pace. An emboldened GeoClick has attempted to rebrand geoengineering as climate restoration. And that's the picture you'll see as the highlight of the day. I put that on the intro of the video. This will be the sharing image of the video. Climate restoration. Boy, we've come a long way. So we went from geoengineering to climate engineering to the AGU and Jim Fleming calling it climate intervention. And now we have come to the best way to frame it to the public. Let's call it climate restoration. And if you're thinking that this is just some kind of coincidence, you can scroll down through here and look at the, stuff. It's climate restoration, the precautionary principle, synthetic rocks, marine permaculture, ocean iron fertilization. Hang on, is this geoengineering, page 15? Oh, yeah, it is. Is this geoengineering? Geoengineering refers to the deliberate. Let's go back to this share right here and then get my face out the way and maybe even blow it up a little bit more. Geoengineering refers to the deliberate large-scale intervention in natural systems to counteract climate change. The thought of intentional large-scale involvement in the atmosphere and ocean raises alarm bells, especially for those passionate about the environment. Many ask, isn't mucking around with the Earth systems the way we got into this mess in the first place? Yes, in fact, our climate is the result of over 100 years of negative geoengineering. If this ain't propaganda, I don't know what is. Buckle your seatbelts. Geoengineering, though, also encompasses proposals for massive tree planting, which I fully support, adaptive regenerative agriculture, rebuilding ecosystems, and turning large amounts of biomass into charcoal to make the soil more CO2 rich, also known as BECCS, BECCS. The IPCC's now refers to the term carbon dioxide removal, CDR, to refer to large-scale efforts to remove carbon dioxide from the air or industrial emissions, and solar radiation management, SRM, for reflecting sunlight back to space. Because of their specificity, we prefer these terms as well. The American Geophysical Union proposed the neutral phrase climate intervention. But of course, they're now going with climate restoration. Yay. Boy, doesn't that just sound benign and wonderful? We all want to restore the climate, but when they start to read a little bit more about solar radiation management and spraying chemicals in the sky to block out sunlight, that's about the point where we all start getting PO'd. But regardless, it's not just what you do, it's how you do it. Tree planting sounds natural and benign, but plant the wrong type of tree, the wrong type in the wrong place, especially on a large scale, and you can seriously harm ecosystems, wildlife, crops, and even water cycles. Fully agree with this. Has to be done properly. But planting trees, best option we got. Worked back in the 30s. Great Plains Shelter Belt ended the Dust Bowl. We had climate change. We fixed it by planting 220 million trees in America. That's what we should do in the future. BECCS and other proposals to grow biomass to absorb carbon can also take up precious cropland, problematic in a world trying to grow food for nearly 8 billion people. So they're going to, say, oh, well, that's not a good idea really either. High tech as some may sound, most climate restoration methods are actually based on biomimicry or geomimicry of natural processes. For instance, creating synthetic limestone calcium carbonate mimics how shellfish build seashells from calcium and CO2 and how corals build reefs. All methods of solar radiation management under serious consideration are modeled on a daily natural occurrence, volcanic eruption. Ocean iron fertilization, too, is based on the distribution of volcanic dust. So is this geoengineering? You damn right it's geoengineering. It's geoengineering, which was rebranded as climate engineering, and then they realized that engineering is a bad word because engineers always screw things up. Your car was engineered, your TV was engineered, they break. So why would you want to engineer the climate or the world? Because if you break it, we don't have a place to live. I mean, that's monumentally stupid, right? You wouldn't wouldn't want to engineer the climate because you might screw everything up. So let's call it climate intervention, because that's what we're actually doing. We're intervening in the climate. We're kind of getting in the way. We're throwing a rock in the lake, and the lake is now going a different direction. You see? But that's not even benign enough to sell this crazy idea to the public. They now want to go with climate restoration. And you can read all about it right here. I'll drop the link in chat for everybody playing along at home. Here's your PDF. Download it, save it, send it, share it. Sharing is caring. So this is where we're going forward. In February, whenever I say we, I'm referring to Geoengineering Monitor or the ETC group, both of which I fully support. I hope you will support them as well. That's why I included their logos right here. And you can see ETC group and Geoengineering Monitor, and then my ClimateViewer all-seeing eyeball, because nothing gets past this eyeball, and I help you see the full picture. That's what we do at ClimateViewer. That's what makes you a climate viewer. So I appreciate everybody who supported me, and all the emails wondering if I was dead over the last month. I am not dead. I am just very busy trying to prepare the next monstrosity of ClimateViewer.com. Which, by the way, on a side note, I did a little digging into my numbers, and my mind was blown because, I suggest to everybody that comes to my website to use things like ad blockers, VPNs, and all that stuff. The only thing I even have on the website to track anything is stat counter, and the numbers were just devastatingly low. I was seeing like 500 people a day. I said, that cannot be right. And then I went and I looked at my raw server logs, and then I started really digging into the numbers. And there were over 550,000 people last month that went to ClimateViewer.com. Just ClimateViewer.com. So when I combine all three websites together, I think we're going to make a very large dent in trying to get the message out there. And it's because of everybody who supported me. It's because of you, climate viewers, and I love you. I appreciate you. And some of you have been with me for over 10 years. God bless you for caring. And we're all going to get through this together, no matter what these guys, plan. So let's get back to the story. In February, ETC Group highlighted voices from indigenous communities critical of geoengineering experiments in the Arctic. And in March, an opportunity to build on the Center for Biological Diversity moratorium to create a framework for assessing geoengineering technologies was put forward in Switzerland by 11 other countries, but it was also quashed by high-emitting countries. And I covered this, actually. You can see this at the bottom of weathermodificationhistory.com. Hands off Mother Earth. Read the manifesto. A permanent ban on geoengineering. And this is the way to go. My personal opinion. ETC Group and a company are the only people who really have the lobbying power to make this a reality, and I fully support it. So I hope that you guys will check that out. It's the way to go. Let's just put it that way. I was going to say there's my YouTube video. Of course, the ClimateViewer link's not going to come up, but here it is. Here's the original. Hands off Mother Earth, manifesto against geoengineering. This was October 4, 2018. Covered this a lot. If you didn't catch it, now you know. All right, so in March, they went to COP25 and raised hell about this. And basically, America, Brazil, and Saudi Arabia said, we don't want to, have anybody regulate geoengineering. That's a problem. A film produced by Leonardo DiCaprio, who in the past was a voice for climate justice, promoted several geoengineering technologies as a solution to the climate crisis, A similar change in tone occurred at the Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research. Ice on fire makes dangerous concessions to techno-fix fantasies. God, man, they got a flair for a title, don't they? So there's DiCaprio showing his Ice on Fire documentary, where he now supports geoengineering. Wish he was really on the Titanic now. A similar change in tone occurred at the Potsdam Institute for Climate and Impact Research, which proposed a bizarre Antarctic ice scheme. Oh, look at that! Boy, that page has gone to crap. Looks like it got blown up on us. They don't want us to see it. That's freaking HTML. Page returned as textile. Oh well. We'll try that one again later. Anyway, a bizarre Antarctic ice scheme is probably talking about Ice 911. More recently, the Institute's director appeared to jump on the climate restoration rebranding of geoengineering technologies. Get out my face. Earth System Alert. This is Project Syndicate. That sounds scary at all. Back to where we were. The ISO, in case you guys don't know what ISO, it's the International Standards Organization, advanced in secret a new proposed standard on radiative forcing that threatens to create a new market for climate credits that could undermine existing agreements. The proposed standard was leaked in August, leading to some pushback, but the ISO, a corporate-friendly environment largely closed to civil society, has continued to work on the standard. Of course, they said that, that geoengineering was out of the scope. However, the documents that the AFP story were based on have been posted. It appears that, at least in the time the leaked documents were drafted, geoengineering was very much in scope. Thank you very much, Colette and Root Fukushima. God bless you. I really appreciate you guys. Also, during the summer, the hottest on record. This is a proposed standard threatens to undermine climate agreements, entrench geoengineering. Who's behind the backroom push to undermine climate standards? The ISO group, they set international standards for all kind of industries, and them setting a standard for climate forcing, radiative forcing, basically sets the stage for people to make a lot of money off of blocking sunlight, which has been going on for years, which is what we've all complained about. But regardless, the bullshit continues. So let's keep on with this year-end wrap up of the effery. I'm trying not to curse. I want to keep this family friendly. It's a new year, okay? It's 2020. We are officially in the future, and the future is filled with sky poop and plane farts. So, also during the summer, the hottest on record, ScopeX launched an advisory board aimed at legitimizing its defiance of the moratorium against open-air testing. That moratorium was by the Convention for Biological Diversity, saying no geoengineering testing, period. But the ScopeX is David Keith's stratospheric controlled perturbation experiment, where David Keith intends to fly a balloon up into the sky, spray a bunch of poop out of it, see how much sunlight is blocked, hopefully furthering the science behind solar radiation management and making it one step closer to becoming an international legal norm, not just accidental geoengineering from aircraft and ship tracks. But let's get back to the story. The Hands Off Mother Earth campaign responded with an open letter calling on the committee to stop calling on the committee members to step down and stop legitimizing a project that furthers the interests of climate disrupting forces. The geoengineering push was highly visible at COP25 and the UNFCCC in Madrid, where the climate restoration frame was used to promote unproven techno-fixes, and asking questions about carbon dioxide removal has increasingly become a means for the promotion of a questionable technology. Promotion of questionable technologies. Geoengineering technology that have actually been considered in recent IPCC reports as one of the pathways out of climate chaos, and those discussions appear likely to continue. And you can see that here. Is the world ready for large-scale CO2 removal? And this is at the C2G2 Carnegie Climate Governance Initiative, Carnegie Council for Ethics and International Affairs. Thank you, Carnegie. More like Carnival. Pick your poison. Error, we cannot verify. That's because my security is too strong for your stupid geoengineering website. And back to the story. Crap. One moment while I cough. I muted for your viewing pleasure. Through it all, we, the Geoengineering Monitor and its ETC group, Heinrich Boll. Anyway, through it all, we track some smaller developments of a variety of geoengineering projects, carbon capture and venture capital in May, direct air capture in July. Right there, direct air capture, recent developments and future plans. Weather modification in August. I cover that a whole lot. And calls for upwelling in October. This is where you take cold water from the bottom of the ocean, put it up on the surface, swish everything around. I'm sure the plants, bugs, and fish won't mind you totally screwing with the ocean as well. And calls for transparency in November. What will 2020 bring? There's more to be said, but here are a few things we're tracking. And let me just flip this up here. Inclusion of geoengineering in the 6th assessment report of the IPCC. So expect the next IPCC report to include a whole bunch of stuff about geoengineering, even though they want to call it climate restoration or climate intervention or climate engineering. It'd be geoengineering. We like to keep it simple, and despite all of the framing, and framing is an attempt at perception management or an attempt to do mind control using words. So don't let them frame this one the way they want. Geoengineering is what we call it. That's what we're going to call it. Father call him Cleve. I'm going to call him Cleve. Some of y'all may be too young to know what I'm talking about there. The risk of certain countries sneaking geoengineering into the post-2020 biodiversity agenda through discussions of nature-based solutions. There's another keyword for you. Nature-based solutions, climate restoration. Keep an eye out for those, because they're always going to try to shift the words around, make it harder for you to keep up with all this stuff. ScopeX, David Key's program, has faced delays upon delays, but they will finally attempt to test their solar. Will they finally attempt to test their solar geoengineering tech in 2020? Not if we have anything to do with it. And if we find out that it is going to happen, trust me, I'll be the first one to let you know, because damn all that. The Institute for Advanced Sustainable Studies will be holding a major conference in October to advance research on policy and policy on geoengineering, whether they are attempting to rebrand it as climate engineering. And you can see that right here. The Climate Engineering in Context 2020 at the Critical Global Discussion CEC20 meeting will be October 6th through the 9th, 2020. And everybody can check that out at ce-conference.org. If you're able to attend, please go there and tell them Jim Lee says hi and a big FU, and jump off the edge of the flat earth AF. They'll know what I mean. But regardless, you can see all of that information on their website there. They've had these conferences every so often. And if I weren't worried that they'd literally drop my plane out of the sky crossing the ocean, I would be in attendance at this for sure. But regardless, now you know, and knowing is like half the battle. So, raising the stakes at COP25 in Madrid. Geoengineering was promoted heavily by the usual suspects and some new ones at COP25. That's one of the... Never mind, not going to get sidetracked. One surprise was to see ocean fertilization among the most thoroughly discredited forms of geoengineering among scientists being promoted by climate restoration proponents. And you can see that right here. International Society for Ecological Economics, Ocean Pasture Restoration with Russ George, Peter Fikowski, and Alex Carlin. Sounds more like George Carlin had some fun with this, because Russ George was the rogue geoengineer, which they're about to explain, being promoted by climate restoration proponents with the participation of old geopirates, such as rogue geoengineer Russ George, who was involved in the largest illegal ocean fertilization experiment to date off the shore of Haida Gwaii, with the traditional territory of Haida Nation in Canada. Just days before COP25, Terran, a civil society organization from Chile, had exposed an attempt by Oceanios, a company derived from the Haida Gwaii initiative, to sell ocean fertilization as, wait for it, ocean seeding. Ocean seeding. So ocean iron fertilization. Now ocean fertilization, ocean seeding. Idea is simple. Dump iron in ocean. Algae blooms. Algae eats CO2, falls down to the bottom of the ocean. CO2 sequestration via ocean iron fertilization, feeding iron to algae to suck up CO2. When Russ George did this, it was actually made a algae bloom that was visible from space. You can see this on ClimateViewer.com. You can see the original satellite images. I have an entire article dedicated to Russ George. I spoke to Russ George on Twitter, and I actually told him, I said, you know, if you're going to dump iron in the ocean to feed algae, I prefer that any day to dumping sulfur, titanium, aluminum, diamond dust, calcium, all of the different chemicals they proposed for solar radiation management. But why can't we just plant some trees? But still, ocean iron fertilization, lower on the totem pole of me being freaked out by it than solar radiation management blocking out sunlight. Blocking out sunlight, that's a no-fly zone, homeboys and girls and theys, if there are any in the audience. Regardless, the mobilization against geoengineering and other false solutions was also much higher. A packed side event critical of geoengineering was organized by several hands-off Mother Earth signatories, including Via Campesina, Indigenous Environmental Network, ETC Group, Home F, Climate Justice Alliance, and Grassroots Global Justice Alliance. Other events critical of geoengineering were organized with Terran, Chile, and Ecologistas in Acción, Spain, in the public area at the COP25, and in the Alternative Social Summit for the Climate in Madrid. In total, 6 events on geoengineering were held parallel to the COP25 by members of the Home campaign. So, what did we learn here today? That basically, the ETC group, monitoring power, tracking technology, strengthening diversity, they run a website called Geoengineering. This is etcgroup.org, etcgroup.org. Pat Mooney, Jim Thomas, Sylvia Ribeiro, talk to them all on the phone. I totally support what they're doing. They are the real deal. Show them some love, show them support as well. Sign up for their newsletter. Everything I just read to you came from an email titled The Year in Geoengineering and the Planet in 2020. And it was a recap. And I figured, this would be a very simple way for me to kind of recap some of the news that you guys, I know you haven't heard. And you can see that email right here. I've been reading from it. But sign up for their newsletter. It's a Geoengineering Monitor, and that is geoengineeringmonitor.org. They also have, let's see if I have it right here. They also have their own map, which is the Geoengineering Monitor map. And that is at map.geoengineeringmonitor.org. So I hope you guys will check that out as well. But be sure to go over there, sign up for their newsletter. Tell them Jim Lee sent you. They'll know who you sent you. Because they'll see this video. I'm going to email it to them anyway. But I love these guys. They really are one of the few NGOs that have the power to really get in the face of these globalists that are pushing this idea of geoengineering, trying to make it legal. And I hope in 2020 we can make a big pushback against that. I'd like to thank all of you guys for tuning into this. Be sure to go over to ClimateViewer.org. Under categories, go to History and Science and click on Geoengineering and Weather Modification right here. And you can see all of my geoengineering and weather modification maps. There are many to choose from, or you can see them all at the same time simply by clicking on ClimateViewer 3D and doing the exact same thing, clicking on History and Science, going down to Geoengineering and Weather Modification, and then turning on as many as you like. And you can do that right here and see 50 years of the United Nations tracking weather modification projects, 1952 through 1959, and scroll around this beautiful blue ball and see weather modification geoengineering projects from around the world, along with scientific reports and all of that sort of stuff. And, cloud seeding generators all over America. The list just goes on and on and on. Get educated. Share this information with other people. Go over to weathermodificationhistory.com. I highly suggest, if you're new to this subject or if you're a long timer and you really want all the facts, go through these 4 presentations I've put together at the bottom. They're available as a video, where you can just click right here and watch me testify. And this is at, why am I having a blank? G. Edward Griffin's Global Warming and Inconvenient Lie. And you can watch a very lengthy, and you can even see on here, it says, weathermodificationhistory.com, coming soon. And this is before I had actually created that. And you can download the PowerPoints themselves by clicking on there. They're also available over on here. It says download PowerPoint. Click that. It'll take you lets you download the actual PowerPoint itself, or you can view it on Google Slides, or you can go to the presentation page over on ClimateViewer.com and watch the video yourself there and see the slides themselves simply by clicking through them like this and learn all about the history of these topics. But each one of these 4 presentations is its own mini college education session. So the first one, Geoengineering, Weather Modification, Weaponizing Nature. The next one, Ionospheric Heaters, Space Weather Control and Geophysical Warfare. The next one, Carbon Black Dust, the chemtrail secret for weather warfare, geoengineering, and ozone destruction. And finally, the very big picture, the climate changers and water wars, technocracy, geoengineering, and replacing the water cycle. If you watch these 4 presentations, you will learn more about this topic than you're going to on any other website, period, point blank, end of story. This is 10 years worth of research summed up in 4 presentations to really give you the big picture. And then my solution to all of this, the Environmental Modification Accountability Act, which can be found at climateviewer.com/nmod. In 2020, my big push is going to be to make this a reality. It is an act to end atmospheric experimentation without notification. We need transparency and verification, accountability, people to be held liable in a court of law. And the only way to do that is to demand it. And we're going to piggyback off of the weather warfare ban of 1978 in order to do so. Also, go to Climate Viewer News and go to the Geoengineering section. You can go click on Geoengineering right here, and that will take you to Geoengineering and Weather Modification Exposed, my longest running page on this topic. Learn about how geoengineering SRM will kill people. Hear David Keith himself say so. And read through the FAQ. If you want to know who's controlling your weather, geoengineering maps, the presentations, the subsections on HARP and chemtrails, and all of the articles and videos. See me debate Mick West, the world's top geoengineering debunker, and totally talk about simply semantics without ever getting into whipping his ass with military FOIAs that I could have easily pulled out of my back pocket. But regardless, there's a lot to do in 2020. And I wanted to not end, I didn't want to end 2019 without saying, first of all, I greatly appreciate everybody who supported me over the last year. Summarizing this new push that's going to be happening in the next year, reframing all of this as climate restoration or nature-based solutions for climate change. You're going to see a lot of that. As a lot of you probably noticed, I am hoarse because I have been sick as a dog for the last week and a half to 2 weeks. I barely could speak. So I'm finally to the point where I've actually got enough air in my lungs that I can actually do this video. So I appreciate you guys dealing with my very rough voice at the moment. Thank you very much to the super chatters, Oregon Sunshine, Colette. And we had one other one. Why is it not showing up in my little list or my mini feed? That's just unfortunate. But I do appreciate everybody who supported me, over the past year. There's going to be a lot to come in 2020. And right now, the number one issue that I've faced is that a lot of people say, there's just so much on ClimateViewer.com. There's just so much on WeatherModificationHistory.com. There's just way too damn much for any one person to ever really read through it all. So what I intend to do is to really simplify this stuff down and, come up with a way to, give people just the nuts and butts, the bare minimum they need to know to make a dent in this, produce some flyers that you can download, print out yourself, things like that. I will be putting up a shop. I've had people request for 4 years now, t-shirts and things like that. So I do hope to be doing that in the very near future. But step one, I'm combining all 3 websites into one. Step 2, getting flyers and swag that you guys can easily pass out, that, just have the information. Combining all of this into one website is going to be a real big, it's going to be a big effort on my part, which is necessary. But what it's going to do for us in the future is literally give us a one-stop shop where we can go and put up one bumper sticker, one, flyer, go here, front page will walk you through everything you need instead of being cluttered up with, hundreds of links. It's going to take you step by step through what you need to know. And then for all the people that want to go through the hundreds and hundreds of articles and hundreds of timeline entries and 800 plus newspaper articles, and 660 maps, those people can do that, after they've made it through, the baby steps. So that's my plan for 2020. It is underway. I am working on it, and I hope that you guys will continue to support me and this channel. This channel will become my secondary channel. When this transformation is complete, I also intend fully on having a new format for my videos. Something similar to having some news up front, followed by maybe a map or two, some funny sketches in between. I don't want to ruin it. Some of my real tight listeners already know, but there's going to be some comedy in there. But we're going to have a very well-produced show coming up, and that will be on my ClimateViewer channel. This is my Jim Lee ClimateViewer channel, so it will continue to exist. But and I think what I'm probably going to be doing with this channel is having more of a Q&A kind of discussion on Sundays, and then having clips from the video I put out on my main channel, which is youtube.com/user/ClimateViewer. So if you guys want to go ahead and subscribe over there, that'd be a good idea. But that's what's going to be happening in the new year. I hope that you guys will stick around for all of that. I appreciate everybody who supported me in the past. And please, smash that like button. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see ClimateViewer.com become, how you think that, if you've got any kind of suggestions about how I can best, combine this information, maps, timelines from weathermodificationhistory.com, combine it all together in the simplest form. Let me know if you think that's a bad idea. But leave me a comment in the details under this video. Like this, please share it. Sharing is caring. And for the love of God, the world's divided enough, especially here in America. This is not a political thing. This is a people and climate. This is an earth problem. So, do we want to deal with pollution? Yes. Do we want to make the world a cleaner place? Yes. Do we want to plant trees and restore biodiversity and have, all the happy freaking deer and all the happy freaking bunnies, have clean places to live? Everybody wants that. Do we want geoengineering, climate engineering, climate intervention, or climate restoration run by the same freaking psychopathic corporations, government think tanks, and globalists? Do we want them to block out the sun, to do all of these crazy ideas to save us from impending, global warming doom, which they think might happen? No, I don't know a sane person that does, especially anybody who's ever actually looked at the subject. So use this information, learn it. With information comes power, and with power comes great responsibility. So please use this information in 2020 to attack ideas, not people. Love you, mean it. Happy New Year. 2020 is going to be epic.
If this video resonates with you, leave me a comment because I love hearing from y'all. First time here, be sure to subscribe and click the bell. The bell doesn't always work, so come to ClimateViewer.com and sign up for our newsletter. Remember, it would be impossible for me to do this without your support, so please join my Patreon or buy me a coffee on PayPal. And always, attack ideas, not people.
Kids are impressionable. That's why here at this station, we watch the programs and commercials your child watches carefully. He may see bad guys, but not in the role of heroes. And he'll learn that crime doesn't pay. Because your child's welfare is our concern, too. That's part of our code.
Better than anything you can get without a prescription. Anything. It's the best.
I can do anything good. I can do anything good. Yeah. I can do anything.